Carthage against Egypt, and I want to show you this battle because there were some things happening that well, there are some things happening that I don't think should have happened the way they did. So, my opponent's army consists of citizen cavalry, 3 citizen cavalry, 3 scythe chariots, 5 pikes, 2 thorax swords, a Hellenic royal guard, and an Egyptian infantry. I have 6 African pikes. I have a mercenary Cretan archer, 3 Balearic slingers, mix of cavalry, 4 mercenary Iberian swords, and 2 Scutari on the flanks. So I'm very glad I brought the pikes and the skirmishers, because this is a pretty unusual build for me, but I wanted to try it, and coming up against 3 chariots, I'm very glad I just didn't go for a good old sword rush, because that would have been a terrible, terrible time. So I'm just going to stop here and try to protect my flanks. I'll keep the cavalry in the rear to stop the chariots from moving through, and I'm going to try to use my skirmishers in tandem. So I'll move forward with my long-range skirmishers, and I'll back them up with these mercenary Iberian swords. So any units that follow them will be attacked by Iberian swords. In this way, by having a formation like this, I should be able to stop any chariots from moving around like so, because I will be able to fire at them, and I will be able to send my cavalry against them. So I'm going to try to fire at these chariots, just be a bit aggressive and get some damage done on them, moving my guys into range, and let's see if things start getting weird now or if it's later. The thing I want you to notice is that it seems to me that chariots get hit far less with missiles than they should. So here, pulling my skirmishers back and then turning them around quickly to give attack orders, so I'm able to get a few volleys off while these citizen cavalry are moving. Should be able to hit them with some shots, and just notice, I'll take this in slow motion, just notice that even though these guys, well now they stopped, but even though those guys are moving fairly quickly, the arrows still hit, and they are still taking casualties and damage from arrows. Even when they're moving away, the arrows are coming in, and they are still killing some of these citizen cavalry. Now, the same does not seem to be the case for the chariots. A lot of missiles seem to hit behind the chariots, and I wonder if that is because this guy is the lead charioteer, and the missiles are hitting towards the center of the unit. So in firing at this unit, they will aim for the center of the unit. Some missiles will hit behind, some missiles will hit in front, but if they are aiming for the lead charioteer, and the lead charioteer is the guy leading the rest of the formation, then, and I'm not sure about this, this is just an observation, then it would seem that they will fire and they will overshoot and miss by quite a lot. So let's see if it, by firing at these chariots, let's see if we can see where they are aiming at the chariots. So missiles are coming in now, and they are firing behind the chariots. So that would kind of, I think that lends some support at least to the thought that they are aiming for, mainly for one of the chariots. Because the whole unit moves and follows that chariot, they're going to miss with a lot of their shots. And the same thing here, when these guys are moving away, I'm going to turn around and focus fire on the chariots, do some skirmishing, run away. No arrows really coming in now, but and that's another thing. A chariot running straight into a rock should just get wrecked, absolutely wrecked. A wooden construction like this, pulled by 4 horses with 0 suspension, should not be able to run through rocks. So CA, come on, fix this already. Now the chariots are running, and we'll get a perfect example here, because I'm going to fire a lot of missiles at these chariots. These chariots are going to get hit, but look at how many missiles miss the chariots. It looks like they are mainly aiming for the center or for the lead charioteer, and that causes them to miss with a lot of their missiles. Over here as well, while they are running away, the missiles are just falling behind. and not really hitting the chariots in the same way as they hit the horses. So pretty weird. They probably took some damage here, but it doesn't look like they were hit by too many projectiles. I have no idea why this is so. If the hitboxes of the chariots are very small, if it's because they aim for the lead charioteer or something, I really have no idea. But my opponent probably should have gone for try to flank a bit here, and so he could use his chariots to get around, because he's not going to push through the pikes up front. So pouring some more fire into the chariots, and these shots are going to hit because the chariots are stationary, of course. So now things are pretty good when the chariots are standing still and the hitboxes don't move too much around. The skirmishers are able to hit the chariots. But the chariots is a fairly large target, and compared to how many missiles hit, for example, elephants, it doesn't seem like the chariots take that much damage from missile fire, at least not as much as they should take. Here again, giving attack orders on the chariots, and while they are running away, most of the shots will miss and land behind them on the ground. A few hits on the last guy there, but it's a really strange dynamic. And if this guy is the lead charioteer, and I think he is, then it would make sense that if they aim for one chariot and the rest of the chariots are running in another direction, then most of the missiles will miss behind, because chariots running away, if you're aiming for only the last charioteer, your missiles are going to fall short. If they were aiming for the center, some missiles should miss in front, some missiles should miss behind, but not really effective shooting at chariots running away, it looks like. Chariots running towards you, it's sort of the same thing. A lot of the missiles seem to miss. And using chariots like this is not an effective use of chariots, of course, because they're up against massed missiles and pikes, and these guys need to be tied down in order for the chariots to do their work. But here again, running away, and if they are aiming for the last few guys here, that could explain why they are missing and they're not able to lead the chariots. Because if this was a real-life archery situation, then you would have to lead the target and not aim for the unit itself, of course, but take into consideration the speed of the units and try to aim at an area in front of the unit. So these elite skirmishers aren't really able to do that effectively, just missing with a whole lot of shots. It is very annoying, because chariots are so strong anyway, they can run in any kind of terrain, and now they are starting to fall, because they were running not away, but they were running diagonally, so it seems that it's easier to hit chariots running diagonally than running away, if it wasn't just the fact that these chariots already had taken some damage. That is also a possibility, but I don't really understand why chariots seem to take so little damage from missile fire. The hit points on these guys, I mean, they are just 9 chariots. They only have 9 times 9, so they only have 810 hit points. So they have the same amount of hit points as 9 noble horse archers, and noble horse archers get hit a lot easier. Here I'm just going to stand and shoot, because I'm fairly confident I'll be able to destroy the chariots, and I was just able to destroy them before they made it through my guys. But they are still going to route through and cause some damage. Not getting a huge amount of kills though, killing some of my own guys there. And so now there aren't any chariots left on the field, so I can start pushing up and finish the rest of the units. And I'm just going to finish off the cavalry first, do the same thing, bait with skirmishers, follow up with Iberian swords, throw the javelins, massacre citizen cavalry with javelins. And more of the javelins seem to hit the citizen cavalry running away than the chariots. So very strange, the chariots are slightly slower than citizen cavalry. Again, I don't really understand what's going on. Intercepting the citizen cavalry with Musketeer, getting some javelins into their flanks. It's going to pretty much destroy that unit. Manages to catch them, and cavalry is coming in to finish the unit off. And now there's just this box left. I'm not too worried about that. The chariots were very worrying, because I wouldn't have been able to stop 3 chariots. But my opponent should have pinned down my front line and then went around with the chariots, and then they could have just rolled down the line of pikes here. It's not often you see 3 chariots. I'm very glad I brought pikes the one time I have faced 3 chariots. Had I brought Rome, this would have been very ugly. And stopping more of the citizen cavalry, again not really supporting his guys that well. This unit of citizen cavalry is going to run into pikes and die, so I just left my skirmishers there. This unit is getting charged by several units and it's going to die quickly. Mercenary Celtic Light Horse getting some light kills on the charge here. And now he's lost all his cavalry, he's lost his chariots, and now it's just a matter of shooting down his pikes, and I have plenty of ammunition left on my Balearic slingers. So this box isn't going to be able to stand up too much. Focusing fire on his general from the front, getting some more changing into heavy shot for my Cretans, but they didn't really have a lot of ammunition left. So I'm just going to fast forward for the end of the battle, hold his front line, move around. I'll try to break the box here, and then move in and rear charge all of these guys in the center of the box. So not really an effective box, but he doesn't have enough units to make an effective box, but putting his Hellenic Royal Guard inside of here instead of outside is a mistake as well. So the Hellenic Royal Guard is going to break, and then it's just a matter of shooting the pikes and engaging them. I'm going to use these guys to throw their javelins. They should be able to do a lot of damage. Here we go. Yep, pikemen are going down very quickly indeed, and that's going to open up the box. Charged in here. Put the African pikes here. They are slightly better than pikemen, higher attack values, higher armor, and higher morale. So these pikes should disintegrate, charge in, and charge into the thorax swords, and this is the end of the battle. So not the best of battles, a bit strange gameplay by my opponent, but the main reason why I wanted to show you this was because of the two of the big problems with chariots. There are many more, but that chariots are able to run straight into rocks at full speed and just shrug it off. That's pretty idiotic, and also that it's so difficult to hit these guys with missiles. Part of it might be that there are so few in the unit, but I think there is something messed up with how skirmishers choose to attack the chariots, because it seems like they are attacking the unit itself, possibly focusing on the center of the unit or on the lead charioteer, and when the chariots are moving, most of the missiles are going to miss because they are focusing on such a small area. That's a nice graphic. Instead of leading and firing in front of the chariots, which I honestly think they should be able to do. So sending some cavalry into these pikes is going to kill some of them, but the pikes are breaking soon, so it's not really going to be important. That's the end of that battle. It's not very often that you get to see 3 chariots on the field. Potentially could have been very dangerous, but since they weren't supported, things didn't go well for them. Didn't get any kills on the chariots really. And the slingers and Cretan archers did most of the killing in this battle. The mercenary Scutari did well also. But in order for chariots to be a legitimate unit that can work in some circumstances, but not all circumstances like the case now, they need to take damage when moving over rough terrain at full speed. They need to not be able to accelerate as quickly, and I think also that they need to be more susceptible to missile fire, because the way it is now, the chariot is either working or it's dead, and on a chariot you basically have several options of disabling the chariot. If one of the horses is dead on the chariot won't be able to move. If it's running at full speed and one of the horses is killed, the chariot is going to break apart. The charioteer isn't going to be able to steer, and if the charioteer dies, the horses are going to run away and stuff like that. So the chariots are just very poorly made in this game. They should have had separate hit points for the rider, for the charioteer, and for each of the horses, and they shouldn't be able to move through forests at all. And they shouldn't be able to move over rough terrain and stones at all. They should be a tool that would only really be effective on perfectly flat grass or sand, like the case was historically, where you had to prepare lanes for your chariots in order for them to be effective. And during the time period of Total War Rome 2, cavalry and shock cavalry took the role of chariots. Elephants also, because elephants are much more maneuverable on different types of terrain than the chariots are. So there's a reason why chariots weren't decisive in many battles, and why they were more used in the time period before Total War Rome 2 with the Assyrians and the Egyptians, and they didn't really see decisive use with the Darius and the Persians, and they didn't really see decisive use with for example Pontus and the Seleucids, because they were very easy to counter. Take out one horse and the whole chariot falls apart. So hopefully the Creative Assembly does something about it, because currently one of the biggest annoyances in the game is how chariots work, I think. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the